Holy crap, you guys, there's so much going on in social media, and I can't wait to update you this week's headlines. We got to talk about first the TikTok China ban. If you aren't paying attention or you've been under a rock, TikTok, which has been exploding in the US, got about 120 million users, has really changed the landscape of social media, is now facing a full-on ban in Europe. It's facing a full-on ban in America and Canada now. And this seems to be inevitable. I'm going to get into a few other issues with TikTok first, but first, TikTok's been going through a lot of changes as the ad products rolled out. They've been really trying to scale in the US. Lots of creators are now, I'm potentially one of them, are increasingly frustrated with the app. I have nearly 1 million followers, and what you've noticed over maybe the last 12 months is there's just a slow degradation of the channel in terms of being able to get views, tried and true content not going as far, and more importantly, their community guidelines have choked the creators to a point where very G-rated creators that I know are abandoning the platform because they just can't rely on the app. There's just a full-on loss of trust with it. And I think as they're triggering new creators to have their moments, there's just less and less inventory, and usage has really slowed down in the US, probably because of all the negative press, possibly just because people are now back out and living their normal lives. We're not just staring at TikTok. And even though it's really strong, it's just struggling to go through its growth phase, and as ad products take up more of the inventory, creators are having a tougher time. But really their community guidelines has been notoriously way too aggressive and flagging content that's not even in the realm of should be being flagged. And on the flip side of that, as being in the agency world, TikTok, with all of our clients and most of our reps, have been horrible in terms of customer service. They don't get back to you, they don't email you, there's no true leadership, they keep swapping out. It seems like there's a lot going on behind the scenes. It could be related to the ban and the unstableness of the company, but it's really struggling on all sides of the front to gain some traction and getting back the positivity within the people working with the ad products, and then people as creators are getting more and more frustrated. That being said, it still has tremendous opportunity, but going back to the ban, I think there's a pretty good chance now that this is going to go full-on ban or fire sale. It doesn't look like there's any slowing down of it, and I think really the weight of the people is the only thing stopping this, and I think that's what stopped it in 2020. It was sort of pandemic, we needed it. The China-US relations weren't as toxic, but it's going to be very interesting to see what can stop this. I'm sure Meta, Google, and all the other social networks owned by America are pushing for this because it's really eliminating competition, which does totally suck. And TikTok is the best platform in terms of creating content. And while there's a lot more to talk about in this, about competitors, new competitors coming in the space, I do think that this is a time for, if you're a social media manager, if you're a client, to be wary of your spend there, how much you want to invest in the channel until some of this news goes out. So keep steady if you can, if you feel comfortable right now, until we get a little deeper clarity on what's going to happen. I do think within the year, you're going to have more direction on if this is getting sold or there's going to be a full-out ban. So lots going on in TikTok. I think they really, really have to get their shit together, really, is the way I would say it. And they need to ease up on the community guidelines, pay more attention to what's going on there, and then they need to focus on getting the creators and advertisers better overall customer service. So let's jump into Shorts. TikTok's probably biggest competitor is Shorts. Reels maybe right behind that. But Shorts rolled out, in February, its creator monetization package. So moving away from the creator fund where they had set aside, I think, about $1 billion to pay creators per view, they're now moving to the ad share revenue in Shorts as it becomes a firm placement that Shorts will now split ad revenue. And some of the creators are leaking this out. This is actually from Social Media Today. People like Zach King got like nearly 200 million views, but only made about $3,000 from the rev share so far. And I think it's the first month of it. YouTube Shorts is still being adopted by lots of people, and I definitely think advertisers, as me and an agency, we're not really recommending placements there yet. It's too early in the game, so that rev share will probably pick up over time. But I don't think any of you creators or or anybody having a Shorts strategy should slow down. In fact, I think you should double down on using Shorts, thinking about it as SEO. Google's, again, the #2 largest search engine in the world. So making sure that you're putting content there. If you're a local company, that you're putting content in Shorts and you're localizing it, you're making sure you're doing all the right things there. There's still tons of upside in terms of views and account growth. And I think we're seeing a lot of our best account growth coming from Shorts. So, too early to call it. Right now we're seeing 2 cents to 4 cents per view, and I think that's only going to get better over time as more and more advertisers start to focus on it as a placement. So early in the game, lots to talk about. We got to talk about the vision Elon Musk laid out at the Morgan Stanley Tech Conference for Twitter 2.0, which I love the name there. And I'll just give you some personal experience and just really what the headlines are. I'm going to read from this article because there's a ton to cover here. But really, Elon laid out his vision. He kind of talked through some Q&A. I think I saw it on Twitter Spaces or something. But there's a lot going on at the channel. I'm actually a Twitter Blue member. I wanted to figure it out, see if it made sense. I think when Meta launches theirs, I'll jump into that so I can explain it to you guys. But he laid out the core principles for Twitter, and he said, we want to be authentic, informative, entertaining, accurate, brand safe, and democratic. I think those are some strong words. He also said he wanted to be the town square for both sides so people could debate things on Twitter. I think you're seeing a lot of that. I have not seen, and people have been complaining of outages and usage. As a Twitter Blue member, I've not seen any of that, but I maybe log on once or twice a day, and I scroll. Maybe I'm on 10, 15 minutes max, depends how much time I have in my day. So I have not seen that, but for the power users and different people, maybe not Twitter Blue, you're seeing some of that. I think they're trying to get things sorted out with their skeleton crew they got going on. Some other notable things, there's been, as they're reporting, 50% less hate speech. Pre-acquisition, they've made a lot of updates to combat that. They productively reduced the sexual predators, child sex accounts that were kind of trafficking. They said up to 800 accounts have been suspended, so that's a 99% reduction. So I think that's great news that they're really combating that, and it sounds like at least making it known. I don't think I was aware of this before. And I think that the blessing of what Elon's been doing has been incredibly transparent, which I think lots of different companies can take aim from. You're going to get heat by being transparent. But he also is doing some crazy things with the news and yada yada. But I think you're seeing a lot of him trying to live and breathe what he's saying. They're saying, according to Q4, it's the most successful in terms of Twitter history, in terms of usage. They're working to improve performance and stabilize the channel. I think so far, the guy's owned the company, 2-3 months. I think he's done a lot of amazing things. I definitely think the layoffs were definitely a bummer, and will continue to be, I think, a tough place for people to work. But I think long term, this guy's going to turn it around. The other thing that he talked about is building the everything app. So more like I think what is it called? WeChat, where you can actually do payments and you can do banking through Twitter. And I think he sees that as a huge upside for revenue. Obviously, quick, easy payments, they take a little bit of it. So it's still really early in the game. The guy's owned the company 3 months. It took him years to turn around some of these other companies. And I think as long as they can make it profitable this year, who knows? There's lots of different sides of the coin here. I'm just watching and trying to learn and understand it to share with my clients, and seeing how I can give you guys the best advice to use the channel. I do think the For You page is getting better, in my opinion, and I think he's going to be struggling with the ad product for a while. But hopefully we'll see more and more relevant ads, and it could be a space, as you're losing other advertisers are pulling ad revenue there. This could be an opportunity to get really cheap. I tested the product a little bit ago, so some decent results. In terms of clicks and impressions and CPMs being low. I was just doing a traffic campaign to my music site. So gonna be interesting. Twitter 2.0, lots more to come. We got to talk about the Meta layoffs and everything that came out of the latest article. If you haven't been paying attention, Meta laid off recently nearly 10 million people. I have friends that were affected by it. It's been pretty awful, but they've been having to do this based on ad revenue and post iOS 14 and lots of other things in the climate where the company's just not growing, and it got really staff heavy. And I'm just giving you guys some context. As I work at a large agency, we used to have a direct rep there. They've moved to this new agency accelerator. It does suck. They continue to restructure that customer service that I was relying on. We had a relationship with this guy for 2 years. He didn't get let go, but he got moved. And you're seeing it kind of moving to like a mass group. I think the good things about what they're doing is they're doing some more training. They notoriously have been bad at training, so training and consistently educating on the product I think is a really smart move. But I do think having that direct access to rep is going to be tough as we lost that. They are worried about ad revenue, and so what they're trying to do is flatten the I guess how Mark Zuckerberg is calling it is flatten the sort of org chart, get rid of like heavy weighted middle management, which is sucks and is scary, but I think they're doing it because they have to. They have to evolve. They have to appease their stockholders, stuff like that. So they're going to be reducing management. And I think the big things that have been changed at Meta is they've rolled out their automation, which we'll talk about here in the next section. But Advantage Plus, the Power 5, where they're moving towards more AI and automated ad structures. So it's really changed the state of like how media buying is done. And I think we'll talk about that in the next section. Again, I don't want to get too into it, but what they're seeing is better results from that. I think there's probably an overall usage decline that they're just not publicly saying between Instagram and Facebook, which is why I think it's been tougher and tougher for the ad products to work, but they're still the biggest player in the game. TikTok's coming up, and I think YouTube are the other two in the space. But there's been a big decline in e-com, and we've had a lot of e-com clients that had those massive 2020, 2021, and just have not been able to rebound in 2022. And I think part of that is they think the ad or the media agency is going to solve all their problems. I think the bigger shift is understanding the new normal, that people are now moving back outside, they're spending money on travel, that the economy's tightening up, that they need to focus on their businesses, their landing pages, their websites, their offers to the client, not just the media. So e-com's going through a whole wave, and I think Meta was geared up and had staffed up for that, but now they're seeing that people kind of have really gone back to experiences and dining out and things like that and getting out of their houses. While e-com's here to stay, that the level of trajectory is totally changed. So my advice to e-com brands there is focus on brand, figure out ways to think of customer first, better offers, and you're gonna have to start testing different ad strategies. We're starting to move to a different scaling method where instead of trying to scale the whole business, we're trying to scale top products to get acquisition at the cheapest cost. I'm going to talk about more that in later videos. So really starting with some easy areas to gain new acquisition with your most profitable items, and then having sort of a scaling strategy after that. So a lot going on at Meta. It's going to be interesting. I still think they're still the GOAT in terms of a lot of areas. I think Reels has done a good job of bringing creators and getting creators to focus on it. I know I'm telling all of my people I consult with and celebrities and people that you need to be taking advantage of these creator funds right now on all the channels. So a lot going on in the space. Hope you guys learned from that. Now we got to talk about Reddit and Spotify launching their TikTok style feeds. Really interesting move. Did not see the Reddit one coming, but definitely understand Spotify. They've sort of been inching into the video space for a while. As a musician myself, you have to do canvases, which are basically I think 7 or 8 second looping videos, and you naturally see better performance with those loop videos. And I think they've been experimenting with that behind the scenes. There's so much going on. I'm not going to nail all these points on the Spotify. They just really announced this, but Reddit is launching a new TikTok style video only feed. Sort of, you scroll through it, you click into it once you're in the feed, just like Reels or Pinterest now or Twitter. You're going to go into that vertical video feed. Reddit and Spotify makes total sense. It's a whole new ad revenue stream. Whether it's in stream or just another placement for an ad to go. Totally makes sense for both these channels to get into the space, as people are really telling you that vertical video is what they want to do. I think Reddit actually, to me, gets kind of scary with this because they have such a interest niche based data already that they could get really good at this. I like it a lot. Reddit's got about 57 million users. The cool thing about Spotify is you're going to be able to scroll. So this is where I think it's unique. While you're listening to a song, you can scroll the video feed with it on mute. And I think it's going to have that MTV effect of artist where you see someone that looks like an artist you want to follow. So if you're an artist out there, you need to be thinking about this as a strategy, making sure you're putting either TikToks or really cool videos to support your music, because users are going to be able to click on that, and I think it's going to be like a video killed a radio star. There could be a potential where this helps. It might take away from that or have that effect of a music video where they like and look at your style and relate to you and click in and become a fan. So I think this is going to be really important. I think a broader aspect of a lot of things going on with Spotify, and I have to do a whole video on it, is AI in music and where this can go. And I've been hearing lots of crazy things, like let's say you like Frank Sinatra. In the future, you could click an AI version of Frank Sinatra channel where it's basically making new songs that sound like artists like Frank Sinatra or like Frank Sinatra, and make all new songs and music video up, and then you're not even listening to real artists anymore, and all of us will have to compete with sort of AI DJs and stuff like that. So I think there's a lot going on in this space. It's definitely an interesting time to see all this stuff go. But Reddit, Spotify, I think we got to think about the broader culture here. You got Reddit, Spotify, Pinterest, Reels, TikTok, Shorts, Twitter's got vertical video. All these places are looking for ad revenue, trying to hold your attention, but vertical video seems to be the thing. And while they all have their differentiators, like if you go to Twitter, you're going there for news. And I think what Elon's doing is branding that as a thing, so and gets the broader cultural to think of Twitter as one thing. And maybe all these channels need to think like that a little bit better, where you think of YouTube as X, you think of Meta as X. And I think Meta has probably struggled the most on what to think. They've lost their identity a bit. But it's gonna be interesting. A lot to go. We'll be testing the ad platforms. I'll be updating you guys on this. I think Spotify is a unique player in this space. I think Reddit has the interest stuff that could be very competitive and pull out certain users that were probably power Reddit users and went to TikTok for entertainment. Now they stay on Reddit and they get sort of a similar experience. I'll be testing, putting vertical video there for sure. We got to talk about, lastly, Meta automated ads. If you're a media buyer in the space, I'm a social media director for brands. I run it for personal use for promoting music and business stuff. But they've rolled out Advantage Plus and the Power 5 structures. Advantage Plus is their e-com version of like basically automatic ad structure where it's setting up an ad. I'm going to explain this really broad. So you're basically, campaign budget optimization, like demographic targeting only, for the most part, and just feeding the beast with either dynamic creative or a bunch of creative and letting the machine do most of the hard work. And the AI is learning in real time based on your ad creative and your targeting and what's happening on your landing page. Like, hey, this is a shoe ad. It's going to show to, more people as the pixels on every site in the world. The AI, and they're engaging with different shoe content within Facebook. The AI is trying to find that pocket of people in market based on the data that they have, and try to use the AI to find the people. And then once it has hey, this ad's performing well to this type of user going to these type of sites, the AI can move faster than the bidding of a media buyer. We're going to see how this plays out. Google's doing the exact same thing. I'm sure all the networks will follow suit, where they want the machine to do the pivoting, and you're sort of like sitting back and in Meta, you're letting the creative do the targeting. So your ad needs to be very specific, very targeted, very strategic. In fact, a lot of agencies are moving, adding roles like creative strategists that will complement your media buying. We're seeing good results with Advantage Plus. When we're seeing good results setting up in this Power 5, and Power 5, you can do a whole video on it. It's basically a simplified structure, broad audiences. In general, broad audiences have been doing better with very limited additional targeting. Maybe you household income for someone if you're trying to sell luxury items, but broad and letting what Meta calls liquidity. So you need more access to people. Like, let's say you're targeting 1 million people, and in 7 days, 20% of them log on the apps. So you really only have 20% of that inventory to target people, and then you're competing with all the advertisers trying to hit those people too. So you need more opportunity. So broad obviously gives you more ability for the AI to find those pockets of people in market. And we are seeing better things across our agency. We've done some webinars on it, Spinny Tech, if you want to check it out. I'd love to do more videos. I think it's going to be interesting to see where all this stuff plays out. You need to think of creative as the ad set now, so you're testing more on the creative than you are in the ad sets because you're setting up broad. I think if you're a local business, you're doing zero targeting, and your ad is doing the creative. We're seeing great results with local businesses now. I will say that. And the big issue we're working on as an agency is helping businesses understand the attribution from Facebook and Instagram to their business, and that requires a total different mindset of not looking at in-app ROAS anymore, not looking at it directionally, but more looking at the metrics on the business side and setting up maybe third-party tools to give. That's iOS 14 has broke that data connecting Facebook to Google or Facebook to your CRM, right? So you're now using a third-party tool that helps connect that through UTMs or whatever back-end server-side pixels. So what we're doing is developing new measurement strategies and new scaling strategies. And I'll do a whole video on that really helps understand, are we acquiring new customers profitably, and how long can we do this, and then fixing more the offer and more the way that we're acquiring them through the site or in-app lead gen. Like that's much smarter. So you have to think more strategically than just thinking about the media buying, fixing your problem. So there's so much going on with social media. I hope you learned a lot in this video. I'm going to continue to get better at what I'm doing as I'm newer to this space. Check out the shorts if you just want the nuggets of these information, but I appreciate you for watching. If you like this, I'm Kip Russell. I have nearly 1 million social media followers, and this is Social Media Headlines, and thanks for watching.